guys me right? Perfect, all good? Any issues with audio? I see a lot of thumbs up, so that's good. I see a few guitars as well. I see a Les Paul, I see a really beautiful Strat as well. I see some familiar faces. I see some of my students as well. With a lovely Ibanez there. So just for the people that come in, I will wait a couple of minutes and then we will start with everything I want to share with this workshop. So if you want to grab a coffee or something like that, you can. Right, I think we can start now. It's we have 17 people. I know a lot of people are from Germany, the States, Greece. I saw a few people from Greece. It's good to see Greek people here. Let me know, guys, how long have you been playing? What's your experience? Just to get an idea of how, like, what's your level, and some of the things we're gonna talk about today, how they're gonna help you as well. Just let me know in the chat on the Zoom. I see people typing, but I don't see. There we go. I can see in the chat now. There we go. About 10 years, 2 years, about a year. All right. So we have a lot of people coming from different skill levels, I guess. So what I was thinking is maybe include everybody. So I will go for the guys that play a little bit longer. Bear with me because I need to cover a few things before we jump into a more experienced thing. So I have something prepared for this. So give me 1 second to pull it up. And all right, hold on. So we're gonna talk about phrasing, and I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna use the A minor pentatonic for now, just so everybody can follow. And hold on. There we go. Let me know if you can, guys, see the PDF. Is it clear? Perfect. All right. So let me pull up the chat one really quick as well. There we go. Now, so I can see you guys. Amazing. 40 years. Nice. Let's start, right? So what we will cover in this workshop. So the pentatonic scale, obviously some of you might know it already and might be really comfortable with that, but bear with me as we go a little bit more in depth with that. We're going to talk about some blues chord progressions, some target notes that you can target, and then how you can take a lick that I'm going to show you, and how you can use that lick and how you can transfer that lick everywhere in the fretboard, and somehow with just one lick, how complex you can create, like how you can create a solo just using one lick, and how you can change this lick to make it more interesting. And then I will have a Q&A. Just if you have any questions, make sure to write them down, and you can hop in and ask them. So the pentatonic scale, I'm not gonna go through all of the neck. That's something you can do on your own, but I will cover two positions just so we can get this workshop started. So the first one, probably everybody knows this. Let me zoom in a little bit. Everybody knows this already. For those that don't know this position, I think I've sent you an email with these two positions, so you should have them by now. Let me know in the comments in the chat if you don't have that, and either make a screenshot, or I can send you the PDF after the workshop as well. Starting simple, A, C, D, E, G, and A. And then that repeats again. Really important with the pentatonic scale to remember is that it's just 5 notes. So essentially what that means is we have 5 notes that repeat over and over and over again. So even if you go horizontally or vertically, it goes the same. Like, so I can play the same pentatonic. So A, C, D, E, G, A. Or I can play the same thing, but I can play it horizontally as well. A, C, D, E, G, A. And that goes for every root note you have, every A, for example, you can do the same vertically as well as, vertically as well as horizontally. I see a lot of people coming in, there we go. All right, so it's really important to know the root notes. Some of my students that are here know this about this, but for example, this position have 3 notes. So on the 5th fret on the low E string, 7th fret on the D string, and then high fret on the E string. This is really important because this has to be a target note that anywhere you're when you're soloing, I guess. It's always good to land on root notes, and for example, in this case, the A. It will sound good. Let me know if everything is right. Welcome to the new people that are coming in. We're going through this presentation now. We're gonna have a Q&A as well in the end. Any questions so far, guys? Anything that you wanna that is not clear? Let me know, and I can break it down, or go a bit slower as well. So one thing to remember is remember where you have the root note, of course, the A, and then where you have the D and E. That's really important as well, because as we're gonna see a little bit on, when you play a 12-bar blues, for example, the chords you will have, the progression is 1, 4, 5. So it's, in this case, it's going to be A, D, and E. So these notes can be notes that you can land on, and you always rely on these notes. They're always safe options, and I will give you an idea of what we're going to talk about it a little further on. So the second position I want to show you is, I like to call it the 5th position. This is something you can play in the open position as well, or you can play that here. So 12th fret on the A is a root note. And then we loop that again on the root note. So this position has only two root notes, so it's a little bit different than the other one, and that gives us a little bit of room to play around with and see how we can use these two positions, and how we can create something out of these two positions. And then obviously, if you take, there are 5 positions in total in the pentatonic, so you can find the rest on your own and apply the same concepts that we're going to talk about today to all of them. So that applies to all of them, I guess. Any questions so far? Let me know. All good? Thumbs up. It's really weird, by the way. It's just I'm hearing myself talking. I don't usually, it's a conversation, and like it's but hopefully everything is fine, and hopefully you guys are with me. All right, so the 12-bar blues. This is something I guess everybody know already, and it's worth talking about it because this is the base where when we do a solo, this is something we have to keep in mind, because everything has to do with what chord the band or the backing track is playing on the background. So for example, let me play you just a tiny bit of a backing track so you can see what I mean. So this is a 12-bar blues, a minor 12-bar blues, and I have my pentatonic, which if you play it like an exercise, it won't sound as good. But if you know what notes you're targeting, and then I assume this is the next slide, we're gonna talk about it in a bit. Essentially, what we're looking is to make sure that we map where we have the root notes for specific chords. For example, the one is going to be an A, and then map where do you have an A on the positions. For example, we've talked about. We have one here, and then one here. So I'm always gonna end on that. There we go. That's a root note. Another root note, like I said. Root note again. Again, root note. Then I'm gonna go to the next note, which is gonna be the fourth, which in this case is gonna be D. Again, back to the A. Then I'm gonna go to the E. Back to the D. Back to the A. And that applies to that position as well. Here we have an A as well. Back to the A. A again. Then I'm gonna go to the D. Back to the A. Then I'm gonna go to the E. Back to the root note. Does it make sense? Thumbs up. Make sense? No? Yeah, I see some thumbs ups. Perfect. If you guys have any questions, I don't see all of you in the chat, so some of you have cameras, so I can see some thumbs up, but let me know if you have any questions, and happy to go through them. All right, let me see if I have some more people coming in. I think not for now. All right, no worries. So that's not specifically for the blues. That's something that applies, in my opinion, to everything. Because even if it's not a blues, if it's like any chord progression, it's really good to know what notes the backing track is playing, just so you're able to target specific notes. And I have the next slide is the target notes. So this is a map of the A, D and E notes for the specific example of the A minor pentatonic. What in my opinion, I don't find it really useful to memorize. I assume the track. This is not this C. It's on the A minor pentatonic. It's in music theory, C major and A minor are relatives, so essentially they're the same notes, but that's really a bit more in depth, so I'm not gonna cover into that workshop. But send me a message, and I can send you some resources as well. Coming back to the root notes, I don't think that memorizing that is really easy to do, and I don't see the point. I prefer if I memorize the root notes with the shapes. So for example, the first shape we talked about, I memorize the shapes, the root notes on the specific shapes, because if I need to, in my mind, I don't think this is an A, this is a D, this is an E. All I'm thinking is this is my root note, this is my root note, this is my root note. That means that if I need to transfer that to another key, I can take this exactly the same pattern, go to the G, for example, and then have root note here, root note, root note. And that applies to all of the positions as well, and all of the keys. Although it's easy to remember A, D, and E, I think it's more valuable to memorize them as 1, 4, and 5 instead of the actual notes. It's more practical, if that makes sense. But you have that if you want to take a screenshot or a photo with your phone, and you can have that as a map. But whatever works for you, yeah, I guess. All right, and here we come to the lick, which I think it's really a simple lick. I wanted to include everybody in that, advanced and beginner people. It includes a bend, so I assume most of you know how to bend. If you don't know how to bend, you can slide instead of bending. So essentially the lick sounds something like that. So we're going from the 7th fret on the G, bending that a full step, then 7th fret on the G, so we're coming back down to the 7th, 5th, and then root note. If you don't know how to bend, you can slide the 7th, the first note, you can slide that, or you can play the 9th fret if that's easier. And something you can do with this lick and any other lick you have is you can break it down, if you're practicing that, break it down into what this means. Like, it's just random notes, but how does this relate with the pentatonic, the shape, and the root notes as well? So there we go. So the first note, essentially, when you bend the 7th fret on the G string, essentially you're bending you're trying to reach the E, which is the 5th on the scale. Then coming down to the 4th, to the D, and then the C, which is the 3rd, and then the A, which is the root note. So 5, 4, 3, 1. And that's really interesting because now that you know what's going on with this lick, for example, which is pretty easy to remember, what you can do is you can take the shapes you know, and you can find another root note, another E and another D on the same box, and you can play exactly the same riff but on another position. Does it make sense? Yeah. Perfect. I see some thumbs up. So the next, for example, where do we have another D in that, or another E on the specific pattern? In the beginning, we said we have A, C, D, and E, right? So this is the E we're targeting on. So I'm gonna bend the D note to match that. D, C, A, and that goes on with the next pattern we talked about. So I can apply the same concept. So if you want to save these as well, feel free to do that. And then the next place I can play that is 15. So yeah, I will give you a minute just to figure that out as well. Just and let me show you just with that lick how much how interesting you can make it. Apologies for that. There we go. Let me pull up the backing track again. So that's doesn't sound really nice, right? It starts to get a shape, but it's not quite there yet. So a few things we can do on that is let me pull up. Sorry, there we go. A few things we can do on that is first of all, map it everywhere in the neck. So in the other positions as well. You can do the same thing as a homework, I guess, at your own time. And one thing really important, coming back to the target notes and remembering what I said about the notes and the root notes of each chord, so I can adjust this lick to match the there we go, sorry, to match this chord progression. So the first one should be the A, then the fourth should be the D, and then fifth should be the E. So although the lick is landing on the root note, when I have the fourth chord playing, I can play the same lick, but instead of landing on the root note, I can land on the D note. So now I created a similar lick, but not quite the same, and I add some depth, and then the same goes with the E. You can either play the E here, or what I like to do is I like to always bend the 7th fret, the E, and that's something as a side note. If you don't know how to make your solos a bit more complex, try to find the note you're targeting on and bend the previous one. So if it's an A, for example, you can try to find where you have a G and then bend that. And then that's your root note. So in the case of the first position, this is a G, 8th fret on the B. So if I bend that, then I have a root note. And that's a really nice trick to use if you're out of ideas, I guess. And then something as well with any lick or the specific lick, what you can do is you can change things, and you can take the lick and learn it and apply different changes. That means not only the notes, but how you play it in terms of timing, how you when are you gonna do a vibrato, in what note are you gonna spend more time on, and you can make it a little bit more complex. For example, instead of just playing the lick as it is, just be smart about it and use the same notes, but maybe stay longer or less. Does it make sense? And then go to the fourth. Want to add some more depth into that, you can play a different position, or even the octave of that. Find another position you like and go with that as well. Let's see. Let's practice that for now. Let's give it a minute or two, and just you can play that as well at your own pace. Try to find where you have the fourth, for example. and something you can play the same lick, but if you adjust that, and instead of playing the C here, you can play the C here. It's the same, so you can play the same exact thing, but it will have a different sound to it. Let's play the octave of this one, which is going to be the open position. I'm not sure if you know this one already, but you have a root note on the 7th fret, on the 2nd fret on the G string. You have a C note, the 1st fret on the B, D note on the 3rd fret. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm going to zoom in. Some depth, you can slide to the octave. Does it make sense? Hopefully it doesn't make it makes sense. I would like for you, if you have any questions, feel free to come in and let me know, and we can talk a little bit about that. Send me any questions you have on the chat. So far, so good. Do you guys know, have you seen that before? Is this new for you? Is this something you've done before, something familiar or not really? Quite new, very interesting. That's good to hear. All right, I think there's a lag probably with my internet. I assume that I've tried it before. There we go. And that's the whole concept applies to all of the keys as well. So that's why I really talk about learning not root notes in terms of A, D, or E, or whatever, but when you're learning the boxes of the pentatonic, and then that applies to all of the scales as well in general. Try to remember the shapes and where you have the root notes 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, or whatever, because it will help you to transfer that easily. Instead of, if you rely on notes, then you're always gonna be thinking what is the 7th of F sharp or G sharp or like E flat or whatever. Like, thinking in terms of boxes and patterns, it's way easier than notes. And then if you wanna take that into the next step, for some of the advanced people, what you can do if you have these root notes, if you have these target notes, I would say, instead of landing on the root note, for example, on the A, what you can do is you can land on the 3rd or the 5 as well. So it's the case of what sound do you want, because the root has a specific tone, the third has a specific sound, and then the 5 has a specific sound as well. So you can experiment with that. Let me play the bike track a bit. I can play on the... This is the third, for example. Now I'm landing on the root note, but the bike track is playing on the D, so that in this case this is the 5th of the D. And again, root note. That's the root note, and I can play. So you can experiment with that. In my opinion, root notes sound the best out of all of them, but that's personal preferences. So that's up to you and what you wanna, how you wanna approach that. You can add the 7th as well for some of you guys that know 7ths. This is definitely something you do to add some more depth and some more jazziness to to the blues solo. And yeah, I think that's. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Anything you want to add, maybe something you do and something you want to share with the rest of the group. I would really appreciate that as well. Let's see. I don't see a lot of questions, but I'm not sure if my internet is working properly. Anybody has a question? Can you show hands if for the people that have cameras on, or hit the thumbs up button as well. I see a lot of people playing with the guitars. That's good. That's I think is it a sign of I gave you some inspiration to work on something, or anybody wants to come up and play a little bit of what we talked about, and maybe I don't know if you guys want to do that. I would love to see you playing what we talked about and how you apply that. Anyone who want to do that? I can share the backing track with you guys. So if anybody wants to come on and play for us a little bit, and maybe we can I can give you some feedback, and maybe we can expand a little bit on things as well. There we go. That's the backing track. Do we try to hit the target note always on the beat? I would say yes and no. It's something really personal, and again, I like to do that myself. Another way to approach it is you know the boxes, and you can run through the boxes, and then try to land when the downbeat comes. Try to land on that on the root note. But you can do that on the upbeat. You can experiment with that. It doesn't have to be specifically. That wasn't on the downbeat. It was a little bit further down. And I think that what creates a little bit more of a complex solo, if you don't always go on the downbeat. If you just extend the rest a little bit and you play that on the upbeat, or maybe be spontaneous about it in a way that try to experiment and try to make mistakes. I don't see them as mistakes, but try to make as mistakes and see if it works for you, if it sounds good, and if you enjoy playing that, and if it resonates with you. But I guess it has to do with the influences you have and what these people used to do as well. Like Peter Green, for example, used to do that a lot. He used to, or Albert King used to do that, like the upbeat. I think a lot. Any other questions? That was a good question. Hello, Kostas. Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Do you want me to demonstrate a little bit and so you can give feedback?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Let me mute myself just so you don't hear me.
Great. Stop me when you want me to stop. Okay.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just.
Thank you, by the way, for stepping in. And,
okay. Okay. So I put a thing on the.
One more loop. One more loop. That was really good. Well done. Bravo. That was really good, and you.
I tried to stay on the lick as much as I could.
you gave me a really good thing to talk about, which is bending on the right notes, which it was really good. Make sure that you bending, right? So that's a whole nother chapter and a whole nother word on how unique your bending and vibrato can be. When you're bending the notes, it was really good, by the way. Like everything was, in my opinion, it was really on point. When you're doing a vibrato, that's where you need to add some character. And what I want to say is that the choice of adding vibrato and not adding vibrato, it can create some tension as well. You see that with David Gilmour, that he's doing that a lot. Sometimes he's playing a note and he doesn't add vibrato, and like it creates some tension almost, and then he plays another note and releases the tension. So this is something you can do on a blues bike track as well. So you don't necessarily have to play to add vibrato into all of the notes. It really depends on your personal preference, but something definitely to keep in mind as well for when you're playing, when you add a vibrato, and how much of a vibrato you add to the notes. The vibrato, I think the vibrato comes from the violins, and because they don't have frets, they have to use a vibrato just to make sure that their pitch is on the right note. and that's something we use as well to release some tension, because if you bend the and just play that without any vibrato, it creates some tension. I don't know why, but it sounds like it, at least to me. So by choosing to add or not to add the vibrato, then you can again, it's a different way to approach the lick and a different way to a style of playing. And coming back to the lick concept and how you can use that, you can take any lick you want, any lick you like, and with my students, I do that a lot. I teach them licks from songs, and then we steal, I guess, licks, and we use them in our playing. For example, David Gilmour has on Hey You, there is a lick. But I really like the last part. So if you take that lick, right, like totally different than a blues lick, but if I adjust that to the right key, and all I did is just, I was inspired by David Gilmour and how he approached the lick and how he wrote the lick, and then I can learn that lick, I can break it down and what notes he's playing, and then I can easily transfer that to a different key, and I can have my own unique take on that lick. And like, even if it's a different kind of music, like blues and rock or whatever, you can still get inspired from licks and how people use the scale, for example, to make something out of it. Does it make sense? Any other questions? I see somebody, John, typing. I'm not sure if it's for me or you're texting somebody. Yeah, for me, all right. What about double stops and hitting the right note? All right, so that's a good question as well. Double stops, you have to have a good knowledge of chords and how chords are structured. So a good double stop you can do is, like John Mayer is doing that a lot on the you need to understand how the chords are structured. For example, this is an E major and this is an A major. So you need to know the triads before you really understand what's going on. But for the pentatonic, what you can do is you can find notes. What I like to do is try to experiment with what notes they will go together. Usually I don't really like them. Something you can do with a double stop, you can play the seventh, which is the G here, and then the root note, and if you bend the seventh to an A, then you create that, like, really, like a lot of people play that, so it's really common. But it's one of the double stops, or the same on the one string up as well. And then that's a good one as well. Third and then the fifth. And what you can do with the double stops, you can bend them as well. I don't know if you can see that. There you go, might be now. And another really unique, nice double stop to play is this one, which I'm sure you've seen that before. Which is essentially I'm holding a bar note, bar chord on the fifth fret on the D and G strings, and then I'm hammering on the root note with my third finger. So that's a good double step to play, and that's really useful. For example, John Mayer is doing that a lot, and Hendrix. So that you can do the same on the next strings, and then I don't like that necessarily, but you can do that as well. And you can take the same concept, so break down what notes do I play on this one. How can I transfer that to another position? Does it make sense? So try to break down what notes do you play. So for example, I'm going from the 7th to the root, and then always I'm playing the 3rd. So if I want to do that as well, I'm going from the 7th to the root note, and then I'm playing the 3rd. Yeah, you can do that. Does it make sense? Yeah. Did I answer your question? Perfect. Obviously, you can do so much more, but it's just an introduction to that as well. Every note has to be. George, every note has a scale, so you have to learn every scale or just the target notes. I mean, the fast answer is you have to learn all of the scales, because why not, right? Yeah, I don't see the point of just learning the root notes, because then you're always gonna be using that, and it can get boring. Within 6 months, you will be stuck again because you don't know where to go after that. So definitely learn the scale. I'm not sure if you guys know about it, but the A minor pentatonic, for example, or any pentatonic, it has an A minor natural in it. So essentially, the A minor pentatonic is like a simplified version of the A natural minor, which we're missing 2 notes. So if you want to add another element to your playing as well, you can include the minor natural as well on your playing, even if it's a blues. All I added, it was just 2 notes, which is going to be the B and F, which is a little bit more advanced, but you can now you don't have only 5 notes to play with, you have 7 notes, and it can get really complex as well with what notes you're going to target, and how, for example, the F, what is going to be when you play over an A minor, for example, what the F will be the 6th, but when you play over the D minor chord, which is the 4th, this is going to be the 3rd note, so it will create a different flavor to it, if that makes sense. And you can obviously do that with major, minor, like Mixolydian, Lydian, and all of the rest of the modes. You can apply the same concepts as well. So I really believe that target notes are the way to go, and they're really important to know, to make sure that you're not just playing shapes, but you understand what notes you have in these shapes. And it's just 5 notes in the pentatonic, so like they repeat over and over again. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you know what these notes are in relation to the root note. Make sense? Any other questions? I see a thumbs up. Perfect. And somebody asked me, I think, about how you can play with chords and play a solo as well. And that uses the same concept as well. Essentially, when I'm playing, I'm always hearing the backing track and the chords in my mind. I will answer you, George, in a minute on your question. I think it's a good point to make on that one. You can play a solo even with just a guitar without a backing track, and you can let the listener know what chords you're on. So, for example, if I play something like that, can you tell which chord I'm playing in my mind? So in my mind, I had the whole time I had the bass boom boom boom, or I can hear the music and the background music in my ears as well, and I know the target note, so I know when I'm gonna go to the D, then you will know that this is gonna be the fourth. This is gonna be where the change is gonna happen. Does it make sense? Let's see, what's the best way of mixing major and minor bleed? That's another good point, another good question. That's obviously on the major pentatonic, so it's not. Let me find a good major backing track. I think the answer is simpler than what you think. A major backing track. I don't want that. Blues, there you go. Give me a thumbs up if you know the major pentatonics. Yeah. The same concept applies with the major as well. Here I'm landing on the third one, for example. You can land on the root note. The fourth here. Then root note again. The rule is that when you have the A major playing, you can play the major pentatonic. And when you go on the fourth, you can play the A minor pentatonic. When you go to the fifth, you can play a B minor pentatonic. What I like to think about it is, how can I play the major and the minor together? And a way to do that is know where you have the target notes, for example A, D, and E, and then you can play around with them. So if I play this lick, for example, and I land on the root note, then how I can create some depth to that is try to find the minor 7 and the G, and then bend that to match that root note, and then you create that almost minor fill, but you're playing the A, because you're coming from the minor 7, which is not on the scale. The major 7 should be on the scale, and then you're playing that root note. So playing the same notes in different, exactly, playing the same notes in different contexts. That's and then you I find that when you go on the 4th chord, it sounds really nice to play the minor pentatonic. And then when you go on the E chord, you can play the B minor pentatonic. I don't really like that, but this is what theory says that you can do, but I personally don't really like that. And you need to find, so this is a really interesting thing, that some of the scales, they have like same notes. So if you can find these notes and what these are, then you know that if you play them, they will sound good. So the A major and minor, they have some notes similar. So you need to find these notes and what, like for example, the major 3rd and then the minor 3rd, and how you can bend sometimes the minor 3rd to a major 3rd, right? So, or when you go to the one of the chords, if you want to land on the major 3rd, something you can do is you can go to the minor 3rd and bend that. Or do like a hammer on. I hope this answers your question. Obviously, we can go more in depth in that, but there you go. I see a thumbs up. Perfect. All right. Any more questions? I think we have time for a few more questions. Baby box. I can say a lot of things about that, but there's always, that's a major box, and that's the next position of the pentatonic of the first one we saw. See, not this one, the next one. Then you can play that. What do you want to know about the BB box? Anything? Try to find what notes you have on the BB box, and then how you can use these notes. For example, if you play the lick we've talked about in the beginning, you have that lick there as well. Can we use it to land? Yeah, of course you can do. So that's the whole point of that, isn't it? To be able to identify what notes you have, and then, for example, in that BB box, what notes do you have? You have a G, you have A, you have C, and then you have D. So you have a root note, you have a 3rd one, you have a 4th one, and then you have a 7th. So you can play that lick with. Somebody's joining really late, but I will let them in. And if you do that, let me play you just for a minute with the lick we talked about, how interesting you can just make it with just one lick, right? You don't have to know a lot of licks, but know how to use them correctly. I'm not playing something crazy. I'm just playing this lick, and I'm just adding and removing elements to it. And if you add the minor as well, you have that sad feeling. See, I'm landing on the D note. Anybody wants to come and play for us a little bit? Let me know. Or if you have any questions. I'm streaming that on YouTube as well, so let me see if I have any questions on there. No questions on the YouTube thing. Let me know if anybody wants to come in and play for us a little bit, and maybe ask a question, or I can give you feedback, and everybody can learn from that. Even with the people without the cameras, I'm happy if you if you just fast licks and circular licks. What do you mean by that? How to play them, or adding speed to solos, how to get them? That's something you have to do with a metronome, unfortunately. Something you I know a lot of people hate metronomes, but it's really I think it's easy to just find an exercise you want, like for example, and then try to speed it up. And then the more you do it, the more you can speed it up, and then the faster it would get. And that will help you to play faster, like the rest of the licks as well. So it's not that you're working only on one lick. And you can do that with pentatonics. You can have like different patterns, and you can practice. You can practice different things. I don't have a better answer, I guess. Fast licks, just you need to invest the time to practice and get some speed. Slowly, but that's my advice, I guess. Guys, if you don't have any more questions, we can wrap things up, but maybe I will give you a few minutes just to think if you have any questions. Can you show us some examples of mixing fast and slow runs? Yeah, why not? In terms of blues, you can, for example, something you can do is all right, let me change my guitars. Hold on. So this is something Stevie Ray Vaughan did a lot. And you can let me put some overdrive to that. Now I'm on the E minor pentatonic. So the idea is to mix. I think I have the wrong backing track. The idea is to mix fast and be creative and try to show a difference between. Thank you. If I want to go slow. If you want to add some speed. But again, I'm always targeting root notes. I'm always thinking, what is my root note and how, what is the lick and how I can play that, and obviously I can play that an octave down or see how does this answer your question? How the fast and slow licks? I think you can, if you mix the two, you can really get creative and tell a story. I guess that's the whole point of it. Try to tell a story with your solos. A really good player, probably, I'm not sure if you guys know about him, but his name is Alvin Lee, from the band 10 Years After. I think he's one of the best blues players. He played like in the 70s, and he has that specific playing really slow and playing really fast as well, and he's really a really good player. Definitely check him out as well. You will definitely get something out of him. Thank you, Kostas, for the the Strat. I love the Strat, to be honest. That's the best guitar I own. It's a half step down, so that's why I didn't use it for today. But yeah, it's a classic vibe. And everything is stock. Everything is like, I haven't touched anything, and it sounds. I think it sounds fantastic. It doesn't have a story necessarily. Like I wanted a nice Strat. I couldn't afford something better at the time, and I'm glad I couldn't, because I wouldn't trade that for anything else. Like, right. Any more questions? I'm happy to answer a last one. It can be gear as well. I see. I know people are gear freaks here, so. What causes guitar faces? uh, all right. I will give you this tip, right? So after this workshop, whenever you have time, try to put headphones on, try to turn off any lights you have, and try to play in the dark. Try to actually feel what you're playing. Try to, like, don't worry about licks and don't worry about what notes I'm gonna play. Don't worry about anything else. Try to, like, bring something out of you, if that makes sense, because essentially everything we're learning, everything is a tool. It's not like a rule. So I really believe that guitar faces, that's the reason I'm making this point. If nobody sees you, if the lights are closed and nobody's around, would you make a guitar face when you're playing, when you actually feel that, when you're bending that note? Like, would you feel that in your bones? Would you feel that in your fingers? Does it come from a place of, I actually want to play that, or does it come from a place of, I know it will sound good and that's what I've been told, and that's why I'm gonna do it? And I think that there's a difference between playing and like feeling, and that's why I'm saying amp of choice. I will let you know just in a sec. I think that's a really key point as well with everything in music, is just the emotion you want to try to convey, and try to, what are you trying to say, right? So it doesn't matter if you're playing the right note or the wrong note. If this is something you want to express at the specific time, that's all it matters, I think. When you're playing, are you thinking about the pentatonic, or I'm thinking, it's really difficult to say, because when I'm playing now, because I've been playing for so long, I don't think about boxes anymore. I do what I said. I think what I want. What do I want to say? How fast, or how dynamic, or how loud I want it to be. Do I want it to be loud and like make my presence, or do I want to play the same thing but like make it really soft and really it's the same lick, right? But if I play that with a different dynamic, a different feeling, it has a different style, it has different message that you're trying to say. Does it make sense? It's, yeah, music is all about emotion and dynamics, isn't it? Nothing, obviously scales and all that, it's important, but if you don't know the reason why you're making this music and what you want to say, then you're always gonna sound like a MIDI. This is the thing, right? We, as humans, we have to have a human element. We have to have the mistake of the little buzz of the note, or the, not the perfect exact pitch, but just like off a little bit. And if you listen to Hendrix, he wasn't the best, like technically the best player in the world. Like Petrucci or Guthrie Govan are way better, but Hendrix is one of the most passionate guitarists of all time, because he didn't care about making mistakes. He didn't care about like having a few notes like ring, or like open strings and stuff like that. He didn't really care, because that was not important for him. And I think it's good to know that. Amp of choice. I really like Fender Deluxe reverbs, and or Princeton's. That's probably, and Marshalls, I guess. Like, who doesn't Marshalls? But I think a Prince or a Fender Deluxe reverb would be. Although I'm playing with Amplitude, so I don't really play with a real amp at the moment, but it sounds good though. Oh, thank you, Alfonso. That's amazing to hear. In my posts too, as well, I use amplitude for everything. Even on my songs, like that's all I use. Like all of my songs on Spotify are amplitude, so I cannot recommend it enough. Thank you. All right, I think I will wrap it here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you got something out of it. Thank you for all of your questions. Thank you for staying for an hour and a half almost. I hope you will practice all of this. I hope you got something out of it. And yeah, I will send you by email the workbook, all of the presentations, so you can have that if you want to. Can you send the bike track again, please? Yeah, I can do that. Hold on. I need to find out. Hold on. There we go. I think this is the one. Copy. There you go. All right. Thank you so much, guys. When you will record, it's at the moment the whole Zoom is live streamed on YouTube as well. So after we turn this off, this should be a YouTube link where you can see the whole thing. Can I get in touch for lessons? Yeah, send me a message on Instagram, and we can chat about it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope I will do one really soon as well. I'm thinking of doing a more in-depth one and making like doing one with a little bit more structure. Let me know if that's something you would want to do. Perfect. Oh, amazing. Thank you very much, guys. I will send you an email with the workbook, and hopefully I will see you guys soon in another workshop. And some of you in the lessons. Sounds good? All right. Have a good one. Bye, guys. Ciao. Take care.